The hardest part of a 9-month deployment wasn't the heat, the dust, or the danger. It was knowing my son was growing up through pictures. It was getting a photo of his first smile and only being able to tap a heart on the screen. It was hearing a recording of his laugh and knowing I was missing the real thing. For months, I felt like a ghost watching my own family from far away. Every day became a countdown until I could finally be home again. 21 days before the end of my deployment, I couldn't sleep. In 3 weeks, I would meet my 8-month-old son, Leo, for the first time. And honestly, I was terrified. The Army teaches you how to handle fear. You learn to compartmentalize. You build walls around it so you can do your job. But there's no training for meeting a child who has never felt your arms around him. My wife, Anna, was incredible. She sent me photos and videos every single day for 8 months. I had more than 1,000 files saved on my laptop. I watched Leo roll over for the first time on a video that kept buffering. I saw his first tooth appear in a blurry photo attached to an email. I knew he had a crescent-shaped birthmark on his left shoulder. I knew he smiled when Anna sang "You Are My Sunshine." I knew he hated green beans. I knew all those details, but I didn't truly know him. Whenever Anna held the phone up during video calls, Leo would stare at the screen with curious eyes. Sometimes he'd drool. Sometimes he'd wave his hands. But he had no idea who I was. The guys around me tried to lighten the mood. They'd joke about diaper duty and sleepless nights. I knew they meant well, but my fear wasn't about changing diapers. My fear was being a stranger to my own son. What if I held him and he cried? What if he pushed away from me? What if I looked into his eyes and felt disconnected because I had missed so much? Those thoughts followed me every night. I knew the deployment wasn't my choice. I knew serving meant sacrifice. But at 3 in the morning, in a quiet barracks, logic doesn't always win. The mind keeps whispering the same thing. You missed it. The birth, the first cry, the first smile, the first everything. And those moments can never be repeated. 7 days before coming home, I started packing my gear. Every piece of equipment I folded away felt like one step closer to my family. The sand and dust were in everything, reminders of where I'd been. But my mind was already somewhere else. It was in a nursery with light blue walls I'd only seen in pictures. It was beside a woman whose strength had carried our family through 9 difficult months. And it was with a little boy who had my eyes but had never met me. The fear was still there, but now it was mixed with impatience. The final week of a deployment moves slower than any week of your life. Every hour feels endless. You're stuck between 2 worlds, no longer fully focused on the mission, but not yet back to being a husband and a father. Just a man waiting for the flight that will take him home. I kept imagining the airport, the crowd, the signs, the cheers. And somewhere in that crowd would be my entire world. I wondered what Leo would look like in person. Photos flatten everything. Videos don't capture the warmth of a child's skin or the softness of his hair. I wondered if I'd even know how to hold him. It sounds ridiculous, but it was a real fear. I could field strip a rifle in the dark, but the thought of holding my own son made my hands feel huge and clumsy. Anna kept telling me it would come naturally. "He's a part of you," she said. "You'll know what to do." I wanted to believe her. The flight home lasted 18 hours, but it felt longer. I spent most of it staring at the seat in front of me, unable to focus on anything. Then we landed. The air smelled different. It smelled like rain, grass, and home. We walked into the terminal, and suddenly everything became a blur of faces, flags, and welcome home signs. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. I scanned the crowd until I found Anna. The moment I saw her smile, something inside me relaxed for the first time in months. She looked exactly like home. Then she stepped slightly to the side, and I saw him. Leo was in her arms, wearing a tiny onesie that said, "I've waited my whole life to meet my daddy." He had a little tuft of blonde hair and wide, curious eyes. He wasn't a photo anymore. He wasn't a video. He was real. I walked toward them, and it felt like moving through water. Everything around me slowed down. I hugged Anna first and held on like I never wanted to let go again. Then she carefully placed Leo in my arms. The moment I held him, every fear disappeared. Instantly. He was light, but somehow he felt like the most solid thing I'd ever touched. I looked down, and he looked up at me. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just stared at me with those clear, curious eyes. Then his tiny hand reached up and wrapped around my finger. That was the moment everything changed. The noise of the airport disappeared. The crowd disappeared. The months of loneliness disappeared. There was only my son in my arms and his tiny hand holding on to me. In that instant, I understood something I hadn't been able to understand during the deployment. I wasn't a stranger. I wasn't just a face on a screen. I was his father. And after 9 long months, I was finally home. All the things I had worried about never happened. Holding him felt natural. It felt like a missing piece of my life had finally been returned. That night, after the airport excitement was over and the house was quiet, Anna and I sat on the couch while Leo slept on my chest. I couldn't stop looking at him. Every tiny breath felt like a miracle. I still carry the sadness of missing his first 8 months. That grief doesn't completely disappear, but the reunion taught me something important. The bond between a parent and a child isn't built only through perfect timing. Sometimes it's built through love, patience, sacrifice, and the determination to come home. Military families know how painful separation can be. The distance is real. The missed birthdays, the missed milestones, the empty chairs at dinner, they're all real. But so is the moment when you finally walk through the door and the people you love are waiting for you. If you've ever waited for someone to come home, or if you've ever been the one returning, you know how powerful that first hug can be. It's more than a greeting. It's relief, gratitude, love, and hope all at once. Being a father has become the greatest honor of my life. It's a different kind of service now. It's late nights, endless patience, and a love so strong it can actually hurt sometimes. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. To my wife, Anna, thank you for carrying our family when I couldn't be there. And to my son, Leo, thank you for reminding me what home really means. That tiny hand wrapped around my finger was the moment I stopped counting the days and started living them again. I was home. I was finally home.